Hey nerds, welcome once again to another episode of the Brief Nerdity podcast. My name is Ryan, I'll be your host this week. Joining me once again is my good friend Trent.
Hello.
And our special guest again is TJ.
Hello, hello.
What is that?
Listen.
now do title and tail from Majora's Mask.
Oh no. No, I need to limit the imitations.
How about
Impersonations.
the chick from Twilight Princess? I like her.
I can't do stuff on command, guys. Come on.
There you go. I was thinking, what is it able to try it?
I could try. So as you all can tell, we have Zelda on the mind because we're less than 2 weeks away from the Switch launch and the Zelda Breath of the Wild release date. We're all just a little bit excited. What can we say?
A little bit.
And one of us actually had the unique opportunity to go and get some hands-on. TJ, why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, I did. I got invited to the Chicago Nintendo Switch experience this past weekend, and it was pretty amazing.
Oh yeah?
Oh yeah, they had a ton of.
So what games did you play?
Oh man. No, it's okay. I played a lot. I did get to play Zelda. I had about a 20-minute hands-on demo with that. I played a lot of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Played Bomberman, Puyo Puyo Tetris. Played Skylanders. I played ARMS. Splatoon 2. I mean, pretty much you named it, I played it.
Nice.
Yeah.
So besides Zelda, and you could say Zelda if you want, but what was your favorite game?
Well, surprisingly, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I played a ton of Mario Kart 8 on Wii U for a really, really long time. The only reason I kind of retired it is because the Switch one's coming out. But yeah, just playing that like in portable mode, I don't know. There's just something really special about it.
Nice.
You just have to stop and like just really take in the fact that that's the portable Mario Kart now. And I mean, obviously on the TV it looks great and stuff too, but that really, really surprised me because I walked out of it with my favorite experience being a game that I played, another version of already. And yeah, it's awesome.
Do you think it was because you knew of the game existing already, so you could compare it to your experience with it on Wii U and with it on Switch to kind of see just the advantages the Switch gives to Mario Kart and just as a gaming device as a whole?
That's a really good question. A really good point. I don't think so, though. I wasn't really thinking about, I wasn't really making any comparisons or anything. I mean, it still plays almost exactly the same. It looks a little bit sharper. I mean, maybe that's just my imagination, but it just looked really nice, especially in portable mode. That screen compared to the Wii U gamepad screen, I mean, it is like a night and day difference. I'm someone who always defended the gamepad. I knew it wasn't perfect. But I really defended it. I barely used my Pro Controller on Wii. I would always use the gamepad whenever it was an option. But now, after seeing the Switch in person and playing it, it's hard for me to look at the Wii U gamepad the same way again.
Yeah, I bet. And I feel the same way. I always use the Wii U gamepad as well. I thought I was a big fan of the Wii U. I liked it much better than the Wii and just the generation of the Wii console. And so, but yeah, I could definitely agree with you because that non-capacitive touchscreen on the Wii U gamepad, the 480p display, just to a nice capacitive touchscreen, or maybe it's the opposite of what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Either way, you know what I'm talking about. And then
Yeah.
like the crisp 720p display, I'm very, very excited for it.
Yeah.
A question I have: did you get to try the Joy-Con controller, just like the Joy-Con dock controller? I don't even know what it's actually called, but I think do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's the Joy-Con grip,
Grip, yeah.
that plastic attachment that comes with the system where you just dock the Joy-Cons in it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I actually got to play. I'm pretty sure every single type of play style. They had the Pro controllers there. They had that. You could play with just the Joy-Cons in your hands. Tablet mode or portable mode, I should say. Yeah, I would say my biggest takeaway from all of it is nothing feels cheap. In portable mode itself, it feels great. The Joy-Cons, they're a step up from the Wii Remote. I thought the Wii Remote was great, but at the end of the day, it did kind of feel like kind of like a toy, just because the plastic
Yeah.
they use. There's just something that feels really professional and like sleek about the Joy-Cons. They are a little small, but they are very comfortable. And I guess to further answer your question, if I had to complain about one thing, it probably would be that Joy-Con grip. Because the plastic on that, it feels a lot cheaper than the Joy-Cons do. And I noticed that as I was playing it. But in its defense, though, that's the main controller I used for Zelda. After a few minutes, like, you get sucked into Zelda and you just totally forget, what controller you're even holding, and it's fine. So it gets the job done, but it definitely doesn't compare to just using the Joy-Cons by themselves or using the Pro Controller.
Nice. So coincidentally, I got my my tax return this month, and then like literally the same day I got it, like someone posted on the Nintendo subreddit just saying, "Hey, the Pro Controller's back in stock at Best Buy," and so he was like, I'll pre-order it." So I do have a Pro Controller on pre-order for pickup on day one now. But
Cool.
do you feel that the Pro Controller was maybe not even the best way, because I'm sure you love just the portable mode, but if I'm playing Breath of the Wild on my television, did you feel the Pro Controller is the best way to go? Because my backup plan for there wasn't to use the Joy-Con grip, it was to use the Joy-Con separately in each hand, was kind of my plan from that point. But what do you think based on what you've played so far?
Yeah, well, the Pro Controller, I used it for Puyo Puyo Tetris, and that was really important to me because I'm a huge Tetris fan. I play like every iteration of Tetris there is, and I have to have a good D-pad. So the D-pad on that, it worked pretty much fine. There were a few times, I don't know if it was just the game or just me not being used to it, where some of the other directions would register even if I didn't intend to press them. But it could have been a controller, that was kind of old or worn down, really not sure. Could have just been user error, though. But yeah, I played that. I played Street Fighter 2, a couple rounds of that with the Pro Controller, and I mean, it feels great. It feels like the Wii U Pro Controller, but just a little bit better. Feels a little heavier. Really big buttons on it. Yeah, but it's great.
For big man hands?
Yes, for big man hands. I think it's definitely worth it. I know the price is kind of up there. I wouldn't say it's a necessity, but I don't think anyone would have any regrets if they bought it.
At the very least, I needed to get it for any beginnings of like a two-player game that isn't a single Joy-Con game that I might play. So.
Oh yeah,
obviously, yeah. Nintendo's always been about good couch co-op, and so
yeah,
like a new Donkey Kong Country Returns game ever comes out, or something to that matter, someone's gonna. Well, I guess that game could technically be on a single Joy-Con, but my point.
Yeah. No, for sure.
Like I bought a Pro Controller for the Wii U, and I think I used it maybe like once.
But yeah, me too. I probably only used mine a handful of times.
Because most games that were played multiplayer were playable by a single Wiimote and someone else with the gamepad and stuff like that. But there's only a few occasions I could think of. Love the battery life on it though.
Oh yeah.
I used the.
Oh hey Trent, you're here.
You guys just kept talking. So I was waiting for a pause. No, I was kidding. No, I liked the Wii Pro Controller for the Wii U. I use it a lot when we would play the Lego games, a two-player. And those especially, that's to call back to what you're talking about with the gamepad screen. The Lego games were great, especially the latter ones, because you could have the TV being one player and the gamepad showing the other player's screen, so you didn't have to deal with that like split screen.
I love that.
Yeah.
Business. So I thought that was fantastic.
I really wish Mario Kart 8 would have done like four-player split screen on the screen, then fifth player on the gamepad, but unfortunately they never did.
Yeah, that'd have been really cool.
I have a feeling I don't think it can handle it, because when you played 3 or 4 player split screen, it dropped down to 30 frames.
It's true.
But the Switch version is not like that. It's a constant 60, no matter how many players.
They should take it back to the N64 days where they just turned off the music for the game when it was 3 or 4 players. Yeah. So you just sat there with like noises going on the whole time.
One thing I do want to interject, though, Trent, since you brought up the Lego games, Lego City Undercover on Wii U is hands down one of my favorite games of all time. I 100%ed it, and I think I put like 75 hours into it in order to 100% it. It's basically, just imagine like a Grand Theft Auto, but in a Lego world, and you're playing as a cop. So you're a good guy. And it is some of the best writing and voice acting I've ever heard in a game. It's so good that I actually recorded some of it on my phone, just the audio, to show like friends and family members, and they were dying laughing, listening to it, asking me like, "What is this from?" Because this is hilarious. So I bring that up because they're re-releasing that game on Switch, but on PS4 and I believe Xbox One as well. It should be coming out within the next few months, but definitely do not pass that up. That game is incredible.
That sounds really fun.
Yes.
Tell you what, you play Mass Effect, and I'll play Lego City Undercover.
But
trade.
That's a good deal right
4
there.
games. I'm only giving you 1.
It's
You
only
only have
3
to play
right
You only
now.
have to play the first Mass Effect. If you want to continue the franchise at that point, you're more than welcome to.
Well, we'll see. We could talk about that off the show.
I would actually make the playthrough number 2 personally, but that's.
And I just looked it up. It's actually coming to PC as well, Trent. So.
Oh, there you go. And it was one of the rare exceptions. I think it was one of the only like mainstream Lego game that was only 1 player. But they are adding co-op to the new re-release.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's my favorite thing about the Lego games.
Another reason to bust out my Steam controller.
I mean, any game that has a whole level and area dedicated to referencing Shawshank Redemption, totally fine with me. It has a Morgan Freeman voice impersonator that is spot on and hilarious.
Nice. So yeah, do you have any questions for TJ, Trent, about the event as a whole?
I'm just kind of curious. It's going to seem like such a weird hardware specific question. The attaching and detaching of the Joy-Cons, is there like a click, like a noticeable click? Do you have to like hold anything to get them to unlock? How does all that work?
Sure. No, that's a good question. There's a little button on the back of each Joy-Con at the top. You just press that button in when you're sliding it out. But when you slide them in, you don't need to hold anything. And yes, there is a very satisfying click.
Nice.
I think there's like videos making their way around the internet and stuff too. That click, it will never get tiring to hear. So, and that's a good question too, because that's one thing I was worried about is the Joy-Cons being on there and feeling like kind of wobbly or loose. Yeah. When they're on there, you would almost think that you couldn't remove them. You would think it was just one solid piece of hardware. So they nailed it. That's really impressive. Did. Yeah.
And they're putting the whole marketing around that click.
Yeah.
With the thing. So
that's true. But
I'm sure it'd be very satisfying.
But it's so like, obviously done up in the commercials. And so I was wondering like, yeah, so.
No, it's there. It's definitely there.
So yeah, that was really the only question I had. I'm just excited to get it. I mean, I didn't jump on the pre-order early enough, so I'm probably going to get mine like late March, I imagine, early April, depending on when they start doing.
Well, from what I hear, supposedly, like people said, Target they announced that they're getting units that are not for pre-orders on launch day. So Target might be a good place to check if you want to kind of go a little early. But yeah, I would say if you dedicate your time that day to try and get one, I think you'll be able to.
Nice. Maybe I'll take the day off of work that day.
Yeah.
Line up the previous evening.
But yeah. I mean, I could go on and on talking about it. I won't though. But I guess like my final thoughts on it. I was very excited. Obviously, before I went to the event. After playing it, I'm even more excited. I really didn't have any bad experiences. 1-2 Switch. I got to play the milking game in that. I got to play that a few times. And then I watched like my wife play one of the other games. That is going to be like just a hilarious party game, and it's a style of game you can't really get anywhere else. I know people give that game a lot of crap, but I really think if you have friends and family that play games, even like board games, if you have like board game friends, not so much gamer friends, I think it's something everyone will get a kick out of and definitely shouldn't be overlooked.
Yeah, that one was going to be a wait for reviews for me, and if it is going to be a full $60 title, I was going to kind of just wait and see, maybe wait for a sale and kind of reviews. Yeah, sort of thing. So
yeah, it's $50. If you have Amazon Prime or Gamers Club at Best Buy, you can get it for $40. Yeah. Even from what I've seen and played, I think it's fair. Giant Bomb, they just did. It's like an hour-long gameplay session of it that showed a lot of new footage that I haven't seen. Definitely worth checking out because it shows you a lot of the games that they haven't really shown yet.
Nice. Yeah. So I'll do just a little plug for you here. So TJ was actually on another podcast right after he got done with all the hands-on stuff. It's called the Nintendo Newscast, and it's number 17. If you just search it on YouTube, you'll find that. They're a pretty popular channel, much bigger than us with their 23K subscribers I see there. So so now TJ's famous now. I know last week was Ryan's famous now, but TJ's famous now. But TJ has a lot of time there to really talk about everything that he experienced there. So for more TJ and the Nintendo Switch event, definitely check out that podcast. I'm sure they'd love to have the 5 people listen to this podcast. So and you kind of touched on it a little bit in that video, in that podcast as well, TJ, just a little bit for our viewers, but the season pass or the expansion pass that Nintendo has announced for The Legend of Zelda. I already know your thoughts because I listen to the podcast, so I'll kind of give you my thoughts and then you could share your agreement with them because they're pretty much the same thing. So yeah, I don't really have a problem with this for the price. If they were trying to go like the Batman Arkham Knight thing, season pass, it's $80 and we're not even going to tell you what we're going to get on it, then that would definitely be the bad thing. But the fact that it is, like that's not, I don't want to say chump change because it's not chump change, but it's a third of the cost of the game. But I trust Nintendo for the story content and dungeon content to really fulfill that price. My only problem is with their communication on it. I mean, the game is less than 2 weeks away. The best time, in my opinion, but I'm not a marketing person, but in my opinion, the best time would be like week 1 or week 2. Like people just got the game, they still all have the rose-colored goggles on and think it's the greatest game ever, and that's when you just slap it down and be like, hey, look, you could get more of this game for $20, But right now, as it stands, the game still has to prove itself, and when you're asking for more money from people before they've even had a chance to touch any of the content that's already there, I feel that could have a negative connotation, along just with the lack of communication. We've talked about that here in the past, but when Nintendo doesn't communicate well of what is in the expansion pass, or at least is very vague about it, it lets people put in their own negative connotations. Like, speaking of myself personally, hard been clamoring for a good hard mode in a Zelda game for a long time, not just one that's like, oh, you only get 3 hearts, or there's no hearts in this game now. Have fun, kind of thing. And so that's what I hope that the new hard mode is. But I don't know. Is it worth charging for a hard mode, or things like that? But so that's my take on it personally.
Yeah,
End of rant.
Yeah, no, and I agree. Basically, I just said it's the timing of it that kind of ruins it in a way. Announcing it so close to the release and then being vague, like you said, with what you're actually getting, it's just kind of weird. The price point, that $19.99, it is a very fair price point, especially if they do plan on adding like a pretty meaty amount of content. But one thing I did hear in the past few days, Bill Trinen from Nintendo, he said they did finish the game, and then their whole reason for making this expansion pass and adding more content is because they said the developers were like, well, we made this giant world. I mean, there's a full game. There's a ton to do in it, but we want to do more with it. Like, it would be a shame to just end it here. So why don't we make more? So if everything he's saying is true, this is not content that they held back. They did finish the game 100%, and now they are just adding to it. And that could also explain why they're so vague and they can't really give too many details on it yet. That, along with the fact that the game's not out and they've been pretty secretive about most of it anyways. But that does make me feel a bit better about it. But I still overall think the timing is just not the greatest.
Yeah, and I definitely don't think they held anything back because, I mean, the content that you get at launch and even during the summer is very light content. The meaty stuff doesn't come until later on at the end of the year. So
yeah.
So yeah, at least in this case, they're not gonna have what Mass Effect 3 had, which was the on-disc day 1 DLC that pissed everybody off.
Yeah.
So, yeah. At least there's that.
Yeah.
So yeah, talk bad about Mass Effect.
It's I know. I bought it. I didn't have a problem with it. It was a lot of people did. So.
Well, there's a lot of problems with that, but because that should have been just a free day 1 DLC or just part of the day 1 patch, to add in the extra content there. But
well, speaking of Mass Effect, how about that new gameplay?
OMG, I nearly died. I was at work and I pretty much lost productivity for a good 30 minutes. I watched it over and over again, went to Reddit discussions to read about it, and then people had already like taken screenshots and made videos that were like analyzing the footage, and I just consumed it all.
I was so blown away by the amount of customization you're going to have and the way that the powers combine and like the different play styles and like melee weapons, and I'm so excited. There's so much stuff.
Like that
I could
moment
easily
when he jetpacked in the air and then did the back charge. I was
oh
like,
my gosh.
and
Oh,
then
and
he
like sorry,
portal. Then he portal gunned basically that dude and was like holding him up and then threw him at the other dude.
yeah, using biotics to actually like you can grab enemies, use them as human shields.
Mm-hmm.
It's so much more control rather than just like pull just being a giant like telekinetic throw that kind of throws them in your general direction.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of, I mean, and just like I was thinking to myself of all the different types of play styles that I saw just from that one video that I would like to try, and I'm like, crap, I'm gonna play this game like 6 times.
Well, they actually announced that there is no quote unquote max level, that you could just continually leveling up until you have all skills.
Huh.
And
that's
be the
cool.
ultimate person.
Including all the like spec stuff?
I think so. I mean,
like where it has like the infiltrator or like soldier, like those archetypes that give you the generic boosts.
I don't know about those. I just know all I know is that someone said you could continually level up and level up all your skills. So I know you could only like have like 3 skills equipped at a time, but then you could quick change what your type is.
That was the most exciting reveal, that you can have saved power sets that you can change on a dime. Because I was so disappointed that we're going to be locked down to 3 powers when there's so many to choose from. But then you can have like a set of powers that you use if you come against like a giant mech, for example, and then like switch them up if there's a lot of little guys. I'm excited.
It's very obvious that the team who is the head team of the Mass Effect 3's multiplayer is making Mass Effect Andromeda, and so just the fluidity of that gameplay is very reminiscent of Mass Effect 3's multiplayer, and I really want them to show some Mass Effect 3 multiplayer stuff.
That's an interesting idea about the no max level thing. It kind of reminds me of like Fallout 4 or some of those kind of more open-ended RPGs. And that actually gives me, or like things like Dragon Age, for example, where like your class is important, but there's all those like points you can just keep spending on everything.
Yeah.
I gotta wonder, like it gives me a lot of promise for the idea that like the side quests are going to be much more exciting and in depth if there's if they expect you to level to max level. I'm assuming it's, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that are going to make or break Mass Effect Andromeda, and side quests are going to be one of them. We've often talked about Witcher 3 and the quality of its side quests being, just a new level of quality that's, in my opinion, just unprecedented in the genre. It's my opinion, Witcher 3 side quests are even better than the main story. And that doesn't really have to be the fact for Mass Effect either, but if they can just nail that aspect, I also think they need a big sovereign moment in Mass Effect Andromeda as well. If you know what part I'm talking about, Trent.
Yeah,
of course. If they could have a moment like that where just like everything changes and that this is something special, I guess, or something unique.
Like I said, it depends on the way they're going to take the story, because they said it's going to be like a new departure, but they're not saying it's going to be a trilogy or anything like that.
That's another big worry of mine. As good as Dragon Age is, I don't want it just to be kind of a let's tell random but ultimately disjointed and unconnected stories in this universe. I don't want Mass Effect to become that. So I don't know.
Yeah,
it just depends on how. I'm sure
if they could get some kind of between the two, I think that would work really well. Like maybe not as epic as the original Mass Effect trilogy, like with a big like finale type ending, but maybe something a bit more connected than Dragon Age's story. I think that would be a nice sweet spot.
I have to admit, right before we started recording this podcast, I just finished Mass Effect 3, and I told them I cried several times during the finale, as I always do. But a part that I haven't really cried before on, but I did this time, and I don't really know why, but maybe I kind of do. It's not a spoiler at all, but for TJ since he hasn't played it. But at the very, very, very end, after the credits, there's a single scene that has like an old grandpa speaking to his grandson, and then the son is like, "Did all that really happen?" And he's like, "Yes, but it happened very, very long ago, and some of the details have been lost in time." And they kind of talk about that, but then the very end, and then the little boy goes, "Tell me another story about the shepherd." And then the grandpa says, "Okay, one more story." And so like I kind of cried at that moment too, just because back when that first came out, there was a little bit of hope that maybe there was going to be another Mass Effect game taking place, with Commander Shepard. But with the direction Andromeda's taking, that's probably not the case anymore. And so that made me a little sad this time around.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I mean, yeah, like you said, I never played any of the Mass Effect games, but that trailer, that combat trailer, if anyone who's listening, if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out, even if you're not interested in Mass Effect, because I gotta say, like, I thought it was pretty impressive, and excuse me, and it really sold me on it. Definitely has me a lot more interested now than I was before. That jetpack mechanic and like taking cover behind anything and just kind of mixing that up. Basically, the jetpack mechanic, you can hover in the air and just stop in place and then still like fire your guns and fire your weapons and stuff, and everything just seems really smooth and fluid. So definitely check that trailer out.
What do you think your chances are of picking up Andromeda, TJ?
Well, if everything you're saying is true, then I don't necessarily need to play the other ones to play this, right?
You definitely don't. I'm telling that to people now because I've been trying to get a few of my coworkers to play Mass Effect, and a couple of them have tried one. And even as a hardcore fanboy, like one, especially if you're not familiar with the series, is really hard to get into at first. It really hasn't aged well, especially in the gameplay side. And so most of them play like an hour or two of one. They're like, no, and they're kind of done. So, I'm secretly hoping my Trojan horse is going to be Andromeda, to where they're going to play Andromeda and then love it. I'm like, okay, if you love it, go back and play the original trilogy now. So, but yeah, TJ, you're absolutely correct. This is, if anything, a soft reboot, because I can't even say it takes place in the same universe because it physically doesn't. But
same universe, different galaxy.
True, touche. So I mean, it takes place in the same universe, but there really can't be any characters that are shared between the old trilogy and Andromeda, because basically the characters in Andromeda will leave the Milky Way galaxy in the timeline in between Mass Effect 2 and 3. And so if any character wasn't in Mass Effect 3, which, spoiler alert, pretty much every character that was in Mass Effect 1 and 2 is in Mass Effect 3, as long as they're alive. They're in Mass Effect 3, so they're not part of the Andromeda Initiative, which is basically to find a new home for these civilizations. And so it's them going to Andromeda, and all new characters. And so presumably the events of 1 and been in these people's lives and may be mentioned, but I don't think it's really going to be a strong connection narrative-wise and character-wise to the original trilogy.
I mean, obviously, if you've played them, there's going to be that. I mean, you're going to geek out the first time you see a Turian and a Krogan and a Solarian.
Yeah.
And there's the obvious tie-ins that can just really pull you in. I'm sure there's going to be kind of like wink, wink, nod, nod references. You're going to know what N7 is, which is something that like Ryder's dad was a part of. So there's a lot of backstory, but I know that they are designing this specifically to bring in new fans to the series.
Sure. So it's kind of like the female Ghostbusters.
Yes, but without all the baggage, hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that movie.
And it's great movie. I love all those actresses. They're phenomenal. But just no drama for this release, please.
Yes, people are too mean, too harsh.
There is one thing that I know that you were talking, Ryan, about. You think that the game is really going to be hinging on its side quests. I think another big part that BioWare has been getting a lot of criticism lately, even with like Dragon Age Inquisition and the trailers that we've seen so far from Andromeda, is that BioWare's facial animation engine is not doing well, and compared to some more modern RPGs, and playing The Witcher has kind of shown this to me as well.
And I agree with that, but I think BioWare has a unique hurdle to get over that not many other game studios have, is that their characters are completely customizable.
True.
So they basically have to say, when Ryder smiles, like the face kind of makes this motion, and it has to fit, millions of different combinations of faces to make that person smile and do even this tiny bit of emotes. And you lose a lot of that subtlety when someone has a forehead that's 12 inches forward, yeah, so to speak. You lose a lot of that subtlety, and I think it's inevitable that there's going to be a little bit of a stiff animation in that case. And that's where The Witcher has the advantage, because you can't customize the main character besides what armor he's wearing.
True. And I'll be honest, I'm not a big fan of The Witcher's main character in general, which has been one of the reasons I haven't actually made it through that series yet. TJ, have you played any of the Dragon Age games?
No, I'm familiar, but no, I have not played any of them.
Tell us why you hate BioWare.
Did you play KOTOR?
I did a little bit. But I never really had a strong enough gaming PC to really handle a lot of that stuff. And I know, like, nowadays, they could run on pretty much anything. And it's even on iOS, I think, right? I think you could even play it on your phone or your iPad.
Yeah, KOTOR is for sure.
Yeah, but no, that's the one I did play. I probably put maybe like 5 or 6 hours into that a long, long time ago.
Tell us, why do you hate BioWare? No, I'm just kidding.
I really don't. I don't.
Did nobody else catch that Star Wars pun? Was that on purpose?
Sorry, I didn't hear you, Trent.
He said he put the 6 hours in a long, long time ago, and it was like in a galaxy far, far away.
I get it.
So Mass Effect, it comes out the 28th of March?
21st.
21st, okay.
So I have 2.5 weeks to get through Zelda.
Yep, it's a month from tomorrow.
Okay, well, that is a possibility for me then. The one thing I'm worried about, though, is Horizon comes out next week, and I don't plan on playing it until after Zelda. So,
yeah, that kind of ties into another topic we want to talk about. Is Horizon Zero Dawn doomed to have like a Titanfall 2 type release?
So I wouldn't really say it's doomed, because the reviews are pretty
Insanely
positive
good.
right now. Yeah. I'm still kind of, I don't want to say lukewarm, because that sounds too bad, but I'm a person who is really kind of sick of the Ubisoft format. And I know it's not a Ubisoft game, but the open world with like little collectibles, and climb to the top of a tower to see that part of the map, and then see like where all the collectibles are on that map. And everyone who's played it says that Horizon does it much better than the Ubisoft games. But I just hope that the tiredness of that formula doesn't negatively affect the game for me.
Who's the studio that's doing this one?
Guerrilla Games. They're the people who made the Killzone games.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I watched IGN's review of it today, and it got me very pumped about it, because I was kind of mixed going in. But it may be another kind of brick in the buy a PS4 thing that I've got going.
Hey, just 2 weeks ago, I was like, hey, Trent, do you want to buy my original PlayStation 4?
Yes, and I still have as little money to buy it now as I did then.
That's okay. I had another friend just buy it.
Yeah.
So.
But I'm planning on getting the Switch and then upgrading my PC for Andromeda, hopefully, the new graphics card and processor. And then after that, when I've paid for all that, I will be buying a PS4.
So I don't even know when in line Horizon's going to be for me, because I have Zelda, and then I have Mass Effect, and then Mass Effect, and then Mass Effect, and then Mass Effect again. So I don't have time. No. But by that point, am I going to want to just kind of put Horizon on the back burner for a few months, kind of like what I have done with The Last Guardian? Because now, after my talking with TJ, I finally have a PS4 Pro now. Like, I'm good to just get Last Guardian and kind of play through that. And same thing with Final Fantasy 15. That was the other game I was kind of holding off on getting and playing until I got a PlayStation 4 Pro. And so, would I just put those two a little bit ahead in the queue, and then just kind of wait until Horizon's on sale for $30 and then pick it up?
Well, I know they said Horizon has like quite a bit of content, but have either of you heard how long like the main campaign is supposed to be? I haven't heard.
I haven't heard either. Actually, I think the IGN review said it. I think it said like 40-ish hours. Do you remember, Trent?
I remember that she mentioned it in the video, but I don't remember.
I think it was around 40-ish hours.
Interesting.
If I remember correctly, but don't quote me on
look
it.
Up when you got. I mean, a lot of it's just going to come down to what you want to play. I mean, if you're good waiting on it and you want to wait till it goes on sale, then yeah, throw in Last Guardians or the Final Fantasy Road Trip and anything else you want to play first.
Yeah, I really have a feeling. I know that Zelda and Horizon are ultimately two very different games with some similarities, but I really feel like once they're both out, especially since Zelda releases after, that a lot of people are going to throw comparisons back and forth between the two. And I don't know. I don't see why people really feel the need to do that. I mean, they're two different games. You can play one, not play the other, vice versa, not play either of them. It really doesn't matter. Just enjoy them for what they are.
It's true. Just March is just a crazy month.
Yeah.
It comes out at the end of April. But
yeah, it really is.
Just from video games, it's crazy. And then you add in TV shows and movies and everything. It's going to be insane.
Yeah, lots of stuff.
So did you guys see that they were opening E3 up to the public?
Yes. Are any of you going to go?
No.
No, I'm not.
I have very little desire to go to E3.
Really?
Yep.
I would love to go.
10-year-old, not 10-year-old, but Ryan 10 years ago would have probably killed me to say that today. But by all accounts, for people who frequent E3 and other big gaming conventions such as PAX, everyone says PAX is where you want to go because that's a more consumer-friendly con, so to speak.
Yeah.
They say E3, unless you're like in one of those press conference events, which the public won't be, that's pretty much all strictly press in there. That's just waiting in lines for hours to play a game for 10 minutes.
Oh, yeah, that sounds pretty bad.
And so they said that's pretty much all E3 is now, versus going to something like PAX where it's like a Star Wars Celebration or a Comic-Con just for video games, where you could wait in line and play some video games, but there's fun booths and activities and things to do and lounges, so you could play your 3DS games with each other and stuff like that, which is just, and it's much, much cheaper as well. So.
Well, I mean, it's still early. I mean, maybe they're taking this into account and they're going to change up the formula a little bit. I mean, I could see them not and, it being exactly what you described. But, I mean, who knows? Maybe they are going to try and go for more like the PAX feel this year.
It's true. It also makes me worrisome that, people like EA are kind of pulling back from E3 and just kind of doing their own right next to it.
Yeah.
So speaking of Star Wars Celebration, did you see the news that Celebration announced a week ago today?
I did not.
So it's something we all pretty much assumed, but they have officially announced that Kathleen Kennedy and director of Episode 8, Rian Johnson, will be at Celebration to open the con.
Okay, and I'll be lining up literally a day and a half early. Not even joking.
So it's actually, hang on. So it says the date here is going to be that they will appear on stage on Friday, April 14th. So maybe not the very opening then.
Oh, that kind of irritates me then, because that means that there'll be a lot of people that are just lining up and not experiencing the day on Thursday.
That's true. We'll have to wait for more specific stuff. Maybe they'll have a more in-depth panel with Ryan and Kathleen after the big announcement at the beginning to open. I don't know. Yeah, I'd hope that they would keep it like they did last time.
Yeah.
But I mean, at least it's official. Like they're gonna have a thing, so that's exciting. So we're gonna see some Episode 8 stuff.
Yeah, it's 2 months away.
Yay!
It's an exciting time.
Unbelievable.
All right. So TJ, let's talk a little bit about Night in the Woods.
Oh, yeah. Didn't really want to say too much about it, but just the fact that this game, if you haven't seen anything on it, look up the trailer. It comes out tomorrow for PS4 and PC. It's a game I've been anticipating for a long time now, but it's one of those games where I saw the trailer a while back, instantly knew I wanted it, something I was interested in, and then just kind of stayed away from it. I don't really want to know too much about it. It's like a 2D side-scroller, not necessarily platformer, but almost like an adventure game. You're this cat. You live in a town full of like animal human people, and you're this cat, and you drop out of college and you go back to your hometown, and I guess you just want things to be the way that they used to be, but they're not, and there's something crazy going on in the town. The dialogue's really like goofy and stuff, but yeah, just look it up. I wanted to bring it up because it comes out tomorrow and it's getting like almost no press, and the art style in it is beautiful. So yeah, Night in the Woods. Look it up, and hopefully it's good.
So I think I might wait until see what you would have to think of it, and then take
Sure.
your opinion into account. Because my only pause in that, and not to say anything bad about Night in the Woods, just about indie releases in general, is that I feel in 2016, I don't want to say I got burned because that's definitely too strong of a word, but something akin to that. Because at the very beginning of the year, do you know the title Oxenfree?
Yeah.
Like, everyone came out, Oxenfree came out, and everybody was talking about it and how great it was and amazing it was. I'm like, oh, okay, so I bought it and I played it, and I was like, I really didn't like that.
Sure.
And then like literally just a month or so later, like Firewatch came out, and then everyone's talking about how great Firewatch was. And I'm like, okay, so I got Firewatch, and then like I didn't have the same negative experience. It was just kind of neutral. Firewatch, okay, that was good, but not anything spectacularly special, I thought, in my opinion. And then like The Witness came out another month later, and everyone like was giving it 10 out of 10s. It's the best game ever, indie title from the guy who did Braid. And I'm like, oh, okay, let me get this. And I don't like this either. Like, it seemed like like within 2 months, like 3 indie titles in a row. Just so it kind of, I don't want to say burned me on indie games, because I've many of my game of the years the past few years have been indie games.
Sure.
And so it just gave me a little pause to kind of like, okay, just sometimes I need to see if I'm actually going to enjoy the game myself. And
Yeah.
not say I won't for Night in the Woods. I'm just giving myself a little pause. I guess that's my story.
Oh yeah, no, that's fair, because same thing happened to me with Firewatch. I was really hyped for that game, and I played through it like within a few days after it came out. And yeah, I wasn't really too crazy about the ending. It kind of goes in a totally different direction than I would have liked it to.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then The Witness, I loved it, but I don't even think I got like halfway through it. Really had to invest a lot of time in that game, and that is one of those games where you have to stick with it and play it consistently, because if you step away from it for even a few days, it is really hard to get back into.
And that's the thing. I think I was like hate playing it, because like I was sick of it and I wanted to stop, but I'm so like I have to finish games. So like I was like, and I refused to like look up solutions online. So like I was just getting infinitely frustrated. And then like I don't know what people are thinking, if people think the ending of that game is great, but it's just terrible. It's just WTF all over the place in my brain. Yeah,
I never looked it up. I don't know if I'll ever go back to it and start over and play through it, but I don't know. Maybe I will just look it up at this point.
Yeah, because it's just, I was just like, what?
Have you played either of those, Trent?
Firewatch, and what was the other one?
The Witness.
No, I've not played either of them.
Okay.
Firewatch is on my list. I don't know much about The Witness.
That's a whole another topic that we
Did you
won't
ever
get into.
Did you ever play Gone Home, Trent?
No, but is it like those old Myst games? Was it kind of like exploration?
It's not even to that level. It's a walking simulator is what people call it. You just kind of walk from point A to point B, and then you get a story. There's not really any interaction.
Wait, are you talking about The Witness or Gone Home?
Oh, Gone Home and
okay.
And Firewatch. Sorry.
Okay.
Were we on?
Oh. Yeah, no, I was asking about The Witness. Is it
Okay,
like
sorry.
Myst games where you walk around and do puzzles and?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but the thing with The Witness is the puzzles, you're learning new like skills and formulas as the puzzles go on that then are incorporated into future puzzles. So it's a game where cheating doesn't work. Like if you get stuck and you just look up an answer for a puzzle, it's ultimately just going to screw you over because you won't know how to use that formula going forward.
It's literally like learning a foreign language.
It is.
You have to like learn what verbs are, and then because you're going to use verbs in a sentence later on, and it like
that sounds fascinating. I'm looking at some pictures and stuff here.
It's from the guy that made Braid, and Braid is still to this day one of the best experiences I ever had with a game.
So good.
Yeah, that ending is just
yeah,
unbelievable. But and then this game was in development for years and years. It was his next game, and I mean it's totally different than Braid, but yeah, it's unique.
It was one where I was excited for the first 6 hours or so, and then I wanted to shoot myself the last bit of it.
Yeah, I loved Braid, and Braid was super fun. I'd say my favorite indie game, since we were kind of bagging on some other indie games, I'll give a good happy note with Stardew Valley. So
Yeah, I really want to. That's coming to Switch, and that would make like a perfect Switch game. You know, just to be able to take that with you. So that's why I've been holding off on that one.
yeah,
I bought it on a Steam sale recently, but I'm waiting for the co-op feature to come out so I could play it with Trent.
yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah, and I know. Oh, go on.
I put way too many hours into that game, and I don't even think. I think I made it through like 1 year, and so like I always wanted to go back and keep going, but yeah.
See, I was a person who played the crap out of Harvest Moon on Super Nintendo and N64, and so like when that game came out, and people are like, "It's just Harvest Moon done again," and I'm like, "Awesome! That's really exciting. I'm glad they made that game. I'm glad it's doing successful. I don't want to play it because I'll lose a literal year of my life."
Yeah, and I had never played any of those games when I was younger, so this was kind of like my first like game of that type, and I was like, where has this game been all my life? And all my friends were like, oh, you never played Harvest Moon? I was like, no.
Isn't Stardew Valley, isn't it made by one guy too?
Yeah. Literally just the one guy. And I think he did it as like a way to teach himself how to code, which is even more impressive.
Wow.
And the funny thing is if you look at some of the way that certain things in the game are set up, you can kind of tell that it's been done by someone who doesn't have like, a master understanding of like really, really like simplified code design. Like some of it's kind of built on other stuff, but considering it was his first big project, it is just insanely good, and I'm so happy that he's made all the money that he's made.
I don't know if it's technically an indie game since it was made by Moon Studios, but Ori and the Blind Forest was my game of the year 2015.
Yeah, I got to get around to playing that one day.
Like, just OMG, so beautiful.
I listened to this. I listened to the soundtrack for that weekly.
Soundtrack.
The soundtrack. It is soundtrack.
It is
so good
and
beautiful. So soundtrack. Beautiful. The game is beautiful, and the gameplay is really fun and unique. And I need to go back and play the definitive edition because I think I beat it the first time like 2 months before the definitive edition came out. Because they were talking, it's like, oh, it's coming out sometime like sometime this year, and I was like, okay, well, I have time. I don't have a game I'm gonna play, so I played it, and like 90% into the game, they're like, oh, hey, by the way, it's coming out in 2 weeks, and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah. Well, I guess since we're praising indie games, I'll get a couple of mine in too. Enter the Gungeon. I think we mentioned it, but only briefly mentioned it before on here. Enter the Gungeon was my favorite game of last year. I still play it regularly. It's like an overhead shooter roguelike, but it just has a ton of style. The graphics, 2D sprite based, but very, very well animated. It's on PS4 and PC. Highly recommend it. Enter the Gungeon. And the year before that, the game The Swindle. You guys ever see The Swindle?
No.
It's on PC, PS4, Xbox One, I think Vita as well. But it's like it's a 2D side-scrolling roguelike where you play a thief and you have to go into randomly generated buildings and like steal as much loot as possible and then escape and then ultimately pay for upgrades. And you have like a set amount of days that you can do this in. Really, really good game. The Swindle. Definitely check that one out too. So yes, there are a lot of very good indie games, but that's why you can also easily get burned by some too, like Ryan said.
Yeah.
So hopefully Night in the Woods is not that way, and it's a great game that everybody can love.
Yeah, I'll probably play that this week. So I have no idea how long it is or anything, but that's the game I'll be focusing on next.
That was actually my next question because I just finished Mass Effect 3, and so I'm kind of like, So I'm kind of like that's a 100+ hour saga if you do the whole trilogy like that. And then with my added, I'm recording it, so I kind of edit the footage and stuff like that in between, and so it was just a bigger project than I anticipated. And so now that that's done, I was kind of like, okay, do I just need to like take a break from games for like a week and a half until Zelda because I don't really want to start something new that I can't finish before Zelda. But it sounds like if this is something that could be short and sweet and just a good snack before Zelda, I'm all in.
Yeah, we will find out tomorrow.
Let me know.
Yeah, for sure.
So you know who built their house on Batman?
What?
So, okay, that was a really bad transition. I was trying to on the cuff think of a good quote from the Lego Batman movie, but I couldn't think of one right off the
Okay.
hand.
Now you seem to come up with a different transition, and then one of us can go first try.
There you go. Well, that was probably actually one of my favorite jokes in the movie. It's and spoilers, Trent. It's during the logos of the movie when it's showing the initial WB logo and stuff. It shows the DC logos. And what's the exact quote, TJ? Do you know the exact quote he says?
Geez, I saw the movie twice, and no, I can't remember. There's so many great quotes in that movie.
Yeah.
But it's Batman. He's talking during all like the title sequences, like all the different logos and stuff. Like he has commentary for all of those. So right when the movie starts, like you're already being entertained. It's awesome.
I love movies that do that and kind of play with their own like mandatory logo screens and everything.
Yeah.
Who's Warner Bros?
Warner Bros.
Yeah. The Lego Batman movie. Oh my gosh. It's so good. I mean, I'm a huge Batman fan. Like Batman the Animated Series is my favorite show of all time.
Ditto.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Well, actually, I probably put Breaking Bad as favorite all time, but animated series just so high up on my list. And like one of my favorite celebrities I've ever met in person was Kevin Conroy. I was just nerding out the whole time.
Oh, I wish my regular voice was his Bruce Wayne voice.
Pretty much.
But yeah, the Lego Batman movie, man, it is just, I mean, I think if you're not a Batman fan, you can still enjoy it, especially if you like the Lego movie. But if you like the Lego movie and you like Batman, this is like a dream come true. I went as far as saying that it's the best Batman movie that I've ever seen, and I still stand by that.
And that's fine. I still put Dark Knight as a masterpiece in all the way around as my favorite Batman movie. And I would even say that as much as I enjoyed the Lego Batman movie, I would still put the Lego movie up ahead slightly. Like I would say Lego Batman is 98% as good as the Lego movie. So
Sure.
Not for any negativity on the Lego Batman side, but
no, sure. And honestly, like if you think about it, I think that's a good thing because they didn't just try and recreate the Lego movie again. Obviously this is the same like look and style, but yeah, it feels like a totally different movie.
Yep.
So where does Will Arnett fit on your guys' list of favorite Batmans?
That's a hard decision.
Yeah, I don't know if I say it's my favorite Batman movie, but I don't know if I would really consider him like a traditional Batman.
No, but people usually rank who's the cartoony one from the 60s or the 70s? I can't remember his name.
Oh, George Clooney.
No, not the nipples one.
Oh no, Val Kilmer.
No, he had the TV show. The really
Adam West.
Adam West.
Yeah. And that's another thing. Like that reminds me, this movie references like everything. Anything that Batman has ever done. I mean, comics, movies, the TV show. All the references are there.
I couldn't believe they brought in Condiment King.
Yeah.
Like I was like, wow, they did that. And like when Joker was like, those are all real, Google it, or something like that.
Yeah. And there's so much that we don't want to say because there were things that I had no idea were in that movie, and going into it blind like really made it that much better. So I would never want to spoil anything. One thing I will say though, there is a Dick Grayson joke in that movie that almost killed me when I heard it, and I still laughed just as hard the second time. You'll know it when you hear it. I couldn't believe they put it in there.
I'm gonna have to go see this movie tomorrow because I should have seen this last week and just too much stuff came up. But
there's also a few Marvel jokes in there too.
Yes.
I was really surprised at that. I was like, oh wow, I wasn't expecting that. So.
Yeah, they went for it. They really did.
I mean, did pretty much everything land?
I would say, I mean, Ryan, I don't know if you'll agree, but there were some of the jokes fell flat. But yeah. There are also jokes that I could see kids like that being some of their favorite jokes. So
my biggest complaint in the movie was that, Batman himself was kind of a one or two trick joke pony, I guess. And they kind of just ran that into the ground a little bit. Like I mean, just obviously, like, he's very self-centered, and
Right.
and there'll be several moments where like, oh, is he not going to be self-centered? Nope, he's still self-centered, kind of stuff. And so I felt that was drawn out a little bit too long.
Yeah.
Maybe obviously there's not much they can do about that because they can't really, like, at the beginning of the movie have him have a big change of heart or anything like that, change who he is. But
Yeah.
I felt a lot of the jokes just kind of relied on that when there was a lot of great content even outside of that they could have just done more of. So
No,
but
I
that's probably
agree.
my only complaint with the movie.
Yeah. And Ryan, I'm sure you'll agree with this, but the opening sequence is a very long action sequence, and oh my gosh, like it rivals like live action scenes. I mean, from like start to finish, that whole action scene is just it's intense. Like it's quick
very well
moving. The
done.
music is really like pumping you up and stuff, and yeah, it rivals a lot of live action scenes.
Yeah, very well done.
I am very excited.
Yes, go see it.
It's the best movie of 2017 so far.
Yep, so far. I agree.
We'll see what happens in March.
I was saying, what are its competitors?
That's the joke.
Jokes.
But I still, I mean, even as excited I am for all the stuff coming in March, like I don't know if anything in March will be able to beat it. Honestly, I don't think anything's going to beat it until we get to the Marvel movies.
Well, that can segue us. Have we talked about Logan tonight already?
We haven't yet.
No, we have not mentioned it.
Because IGN released their review today and gave it a 9.7,
something like that. Yeah,
something crazy good. Now, I think I've talked about my dislike of Wolverine on the podcast before, so I won't belabor our 4 listeners with my hatred of that again. But this movie, like the review and like some of the new trailer footage and stuff, I'm actually legitimately excited for a Wolverine movie. Something I never thought I would say after the original Wolverine movie. So, what do you guys think?
I'm also tentatively excited, I guess. I mean, that review helped push me over the line into the excited territory. But I mean, I've always been one who thought like all the X-Men movies were good to okay, besides the obvious bad ones. I've been very much a fan of the Marvel Studios movies over the X-Men film franchise. And so I've kind of gone to every X-Men movie like, oh, another X-Men movie's out? Okay, cool. And then go see it like, oh, yeah, that's pretty good. So, yeah. But the fact that this one is getting such high praise is...
Well, what gives me hope is that if you look at all the X-Men movies, even the Wolverine movies included, I mean, they all pretty much feel and look similar. This is the first one where you could tell they're really trying something different. And I mean, if all the reviews are right, it sounds like it's paying off.
And as much as it might sound childish for me to say, but like I'm really glad it's rated R, and I'm really glad we can see real Wolverine that we haven't seen in like TV shows, cartoons, or movies. It's stuff that we've seen in comics, but never on the screen before. That's fair as far as him like actually using his claws.
Yeah, and supposedly from what I heard, they said the R rating is no joke. It wasn't like PG-13 and they just added some stuff to make it R. They said it is a very hard R. So
good. That makes me happy.
I'm excited. I mean, Deadpool showed that a good, an R-rated movie, a superhero movie, can do well.
Yeah.
So, I'm still including Deadpool. I'm still surprised that this is the 10th X-Men franchise movie.
Yeah.
It's been going on for 17 years.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And it's not over yet.
Well,
there's even
it is for Wolverine.
Oh, there's even some critics that are saying like they wouldn't be surprised if this is an Oscar contender.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because what was the last superhero movie that was? Was it Dark Knight?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they said the performances across the board are all great, and it's a really good story. It's really moving. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And I'll watch it right before I go to the Switch launch. So
I do the same thing. I'm having a big kind of a party thing where we're all going out to eat, and then we're all going to go see Logan, and then we're all going to go to Best Buy to pick up our Switches right now.
There you go.
That sounds like fun.
We've already planned a night with like 7 people.
There you go.
So it's going to be way fun. So speaking of movies, TJ just discovered a brand new movie that.
No. I did not just discover it. I just watched it for the first time, start to finish, and I couldn't do this podcast without bringing this up. My wife and I the other day just watched Mac and Me for the very first time. Mac and Me. Trent, earlier you said it. What year is it from? 1980.
Crap, I had it up.
80 something.
1988.
88. It was basically, I think, a movie to take on E.T. To really try and get some of that E.T. money.
Okay, so the Deep Impact to their Armageddon.
Yeah.
Deep Impact was actually good, though.
Well, Mac and Me. So we watched it. It was on TV. My wife recorded it as a surprise for me, and it was one of the greatest surprises ever. We watched it expecting to just laugh at it the whole time and just be like, this is awful. This is almost like impossible to watch. I would be lying if I said that we were not highly entertained the whole movie. If you get a chance to see it, watch it. I'm not saying it's a great movie. It's just something that will keep you entertained. But the reason I wanted to talk about it is because the ending of the movie, I won't spoil anything as bad as I want to. It is one of the most ludicrous and absurd endings I've probably ever seen in a movie.
And I have seen it. I watched it in college with a couple of friends and laughed over it.
I had never even heard of it until today.
It takes.
Have you not watched the Conan segments about it?
No.
So yeah, did you want to talk about that, Ryan? Because that's where I was exposed to Mac and Me.
You go ahead.
So Paul Rudd, for years now. I mean, Paul Rudd. Everyone loves Paul Rudd. He's been around forever. For years now, every time Paul Rudd is a guest on Conan, whenever he shows a clip from his current movie that he's in, he shows the same clip from Mac and Me, with this boy in a wheelchair that goes flying down a hill, off a cliff, into water, and then Mac, the alien, his head just kind of pops up and he looks like, like really confused. Paul Rudd has been doing this for years now. I don't know how many times he's done it, but look up, just like YouTube, Paul Rudd on Conan and Mac and Me, just whatever you have to do to find it. I think there's a video showing all of the times he's done it, and it gets Conan every time.
Trent, so you have it.
Yeah, it is. It is hilarious. And yeah, that was that. And there's a famous scene in Mac and Me where it is a dance scene, like a very professional and highly choreographed dance scene in a McDonald's. I guess McDonald's had a lot to do with this movie. And it doesn't really fit with the rest of the movie, but that makes it even greater. So yes, Mac and Me. If you haven't seen it, see it. I instantly jumped on Amazon after we watched it and ordered the DVD. Because it was something I had to own. I love to own horribly good movies.
I'm really excited for the James Franco The Room movie.
Oh, yes.
Because I love The Room.
I got to meet Tommy Wiseau.
Really?
Yeah, years back in Chicago.
Oh, I've not known this.
In Chicago. Yeah, I got pictures on Facebook and stuff. In Chicago, man. They were showing it at a movie theater, and Tommy Wiseau was there. And have you guys ever heard of The Room, like, experiences that people have?
I have, like people bringing spoons and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Basically, it's interactive. It's the loudest I've ever had it be in a movie theater because people are constantly screaming and shouting, saying the lines. They have rituals that they perform during certain parts of the movie. Like Ryan mentioned, you can get plastic spoons or bring your own, and just they're being thrown everywhere. It sounds awful. But one of the most interesting movie experiences I've ever had.
That sounds like a live showing of Rocky Horror.
Yeah. And,
have you guys been to one of those before?
No, I haven't.
No. They do a lot of similar things.
Yeah, The Room is definitely one of those movies that has that cult following, and people just have a really good time with it. Huh. But yeah, Tommy Wiseau, one of the most mysterious people in Hollywood. I was fortunate enough to get to meet him after he signed my DVD. And I've met a decent amount of celebrities in my day, and he is still probably the nicest one I've ever met. Like he was talking to me more than I was talking to him. So like actually having a conversation and stuff while still being as strange as he is. And yeah, if you ever get the chance to go and see The Room at a movie theater where you live, definitely go do it because
I'm super jealous. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So good times. Sophie, what else have you guys been watching lately? Movies, TV shows, whatever.
Yeah, Trent, what are you watching?
What'd you watch last night, Trent? You may be muted.
I was muted. I was like, I'm talking. Why aren't you guys listening to me? No, so Ryan and I watched the end of season 2 of Star Wars Rebels last night, which was incredible and very emotional and crazy good. I don't know if you've seen it yet or not, TJ, but you need to if you haven't.
It is on my list.
It's like the answer that every nerd in the world has right now. It's on my list. I have this huge list of things. But it was so good.
Did you cry man tears?
I definitely choked up. There were a few moments that I kind of saw it coming just based on where the season was heading, but just seeing it actually play out was very powerful. And just another reminder about how good Star Wars can be when done well.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that the movies, past and present, don't always get completely right. And there's some wonky episodes here and there, like Space Free Willy, that Ryan and I watched earlier in that season, notwithstanding. But it's just so good, and I can't wait for catch up on season 3.
Almost there. We're on season 3.
Yes. So the other 2 shows I'm gonna plug real quick. Apparently, I'm on a sci-fi binge at the moment, but season 2 of The Expanse is on right now, and it's crazy good. And there's a big thing to do with the Mormons in it right now, which is really entertaining. For some friends of mine and I, and then so that show's on Sci-Fi. Season 2 has just started. Have either of you seen or heard about the show?
No. Is it anything like that scene in Starship Troopers, where the Mormons try to erect a temple on that planet and then they get slaughtered by the aliens?
Kind of. So like what I'm about to tell you isn't really a spoiler. You find out kind of offhandedly in the beginning of season 1, but it kind of becomes more of a thing later. The Mormons are building a huge colony ship, and and it's called the Nauvoo, and they're flying to leave the solar system to be the first humans to leave the solar system and go establish life on a planet outside the solar system. Huh?
On Andromeda.
Exactly. Same galaxy, different system. But so that ship comes into play a little bit, and so it's really entertaining, especially if you are a Mormon or were one like me. And then the other show that I cannot harp on enough here lately is The 100 on the CW, and it gets overlooked a lot because it's on the CW, and all of its main characters are young, attractive CW stars. But the writing and the way that they execute everything is so good, and just the way that it's changed so much since, because the first season was very much like a CW show, and then the writers and directors were like, okay, we're on the network, we've been renewed, let's take a hard right turn into sci-fi stuff, and it's intense. It's one of those post-apocalyptic movies that actually makes the characters literally deal with problems that other shows put their people in, but then write them out of it somehow. And The 100's like, nope, this is gonna happen. These people are gonna die, and we're gonna show you how they deal with it. And I'm like, holy crap! It's really good.
Huh.
Nice.
So if you have a chance to go see The 100, the first 3 seasons are on Netflix, so you should watch them. You should get through season 2, and then see if you like it.
I'll put it on my list.
It's really good.
What about you, TJ?
Well, I sort of finished Santa Clarita Diet. And by that, I watched the first couple episodes like I talked about last time I was on here. My wife stuck with it, so I heard most of the rest of the season in the background. And so I was able to take at least that much of it in. But then I watched the final 2 episodes. Half-hour show, 10 episodes in the season. I really thought it was going to be a one-and-done Netflix series, but the way it ends, obviously I won't spoil anything, it doesn't really wrap a lot of things up, and it doesn't really resolve anything. definitely a huge cliffhanger. Even my wife, she enjoyed the show. She said it's just an easy watch. It's fun and stuff, and it's got some good characters. But yeah, even she was really surprised that they ended it where they did. It really felt unfinished. So that was kind of surprising.
That's lame.
But from what I saw, it's not bad though.
Yeah, I had a friend of mine say that she kind of found it meh, and then my sister didn't like it. So I'm kind of
That's probably a no for me then, Bob.
yeah.
Yeah.
I have so many Netflix originals that are still on my list that I probably, if I ever get to it, it'll be a while down the road.
Speaking of which, I finally finished Luke Cage.
Woo! Just
I
in time
still
for
have
Iron
not.
Fist.
Did you say you haven't, TJ?
Yeah, I still haven't. I think I'm still only on like episode 7.
Oh, that's the thing. That's the disappointing thing is that you may have heard online, because that's what I heard before I watched the show too, and I completely agree. The second half of the season is not nearly as good as the first.
Oh, that's a bummer.
And so I was like,
Well, that's great. I'm on episode 3.
yeah. Well, you still have some good ahead though. But I still kind of stand by what I've mentioned earlier in the podcast. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't like Daredevil or Jessica Jones where I have to turn on the next one each time.
Yeah.
I pretty much just watch them one at a time every few days or every week or so until I finally finished. Especially there at the end where it's just like it just, I don't want to spoil anything. It just spins his wheels for like a good third of the season.
And that's what we talked about before, where I just feel like most of those Marvel shows, they would be a lot better if they were more condensed into like 10 episodes.
Yeah.
Instead of the 13 or 14 that they have.
So it spins its wheels like every season of 24 that you made me watch.
Yeah. I can't defend 24 in that matter, but I don't know. 24 still kept me more engaged than a lot of TV shows, especially that time.
There's this huge national terrorist plot. Let's show you the scene about the mom getting attacked by a cougar.
It was the daughter.
Like an animal cougar or like a lady cougar?
An animal cougar. Yeah, she gets lost in the woods somewhere, and I'm like,
that's actually become a TV trope on TV Tropes thing. It actually has a name, and it's named after her. Her name was Kim. I don't remember the exact trope name though.
That's awesome. So I have one more show that's upcoming in March that I'm excited about. Ryan got me on to Survivor when we were in college, and there's a new season coming out called Game Changers, and it's all returning players, and it's got some players coming back all the way from season 2, and a bunch of people, all throughout the history of the show. And it's supposed to be full. I mean, not everybody fits this bill, if I'm being honest, but it's all the castaways are people that made significant moves to change the way the game is played. So the first people to really use an alliance effectively, or that was Richard Hatch. He's not coming back, but just people like that are on the game. Like people like Sandra, who's played twice and won twice. She's coming back, which I'm really excited for because she's my favorite player, and I really hope that she can do the. It's a hockey reference when you score 3 goals or win 3 games.
Hat trick.
There you go. But there's so many great players that are returning. If you're a fan of Survivor, there's probably going to be someone coming back that you like Ozzy, Caleb,
Rupert or GTFO.
Rupert's done. He's been on the show 4 times.
I know. I'm just kidding. I love me some Rupert though.
He was almost the vice president of the United States.
What? Really?
No. So he ran against Mike Pence for governor of Indiana.
Oh, okay.
And so the joke is that Rupert almost became vice president of the United States.
Oh, nice. There you go.
Anyway, but there's CBS.com obviously has all the castaway bios and stuff. I mean, a lot of it is geared toward more recent seasons, but there's some really cool people coming in. I'm excited.
Oh, that's cool. My wife, she's been watching since season 1, so if she doesn't know about that already, she's gonna lose her mind.
You should tell her about it. It's very exciting. Ryan started me on in season 20. We watched Heroes versus Villains because Ryan was really excited about Rupert coming back. And then I fell in love with the show so much that I went and then downloaded and watched every season from 1 through 20.
Holy cow.
It's so good.
It's funny, my girlfriend is actually good friends with Todd, the winner of Survivor China, or at least was good friends before he went on Survivor.
Really?
Yep.
Todd Herzog, right?
I think so, yeah.
He was kind of a tool on the show.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he won, so...
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, I started watching Survivor, I want to say maybe like 3 seasons ago. Yeah, it's good, though. Easy watch.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, I know that Ryan doesn't really watch it anymore, and a lot of people have talked to me like, "Oh, I used to watch that show. Like, I can't believe it's still on." I mean, it regularly still wins its Wednesday time slot.
Yeah,
which is pretty impressive for how long it's been on. And the thing that I love about it is that it's the same basic formula, and they throw in small changes here and there. But the reason that it's still fun and different every year is that there's different people on it, and the different people interact in a unpredictable way. And so it's always fun.
And don't get me wrong, I would personally, I would still love to watch it, but I have to manage my queue, or else like I'll never get through the shows that I'm currently watching. And so, like, I would love to watch it. It's just like I don't know if I just have time or if I could spare the time.
That's fair.
Especially the nature of the show, like you have to watch it semi-live, or else you're not.
Oh yeah,
it's going to be spoiled for you.
I follow way too many people on Twitter. Like, so the night of Survivor, I have to stay the F off of Twitter, or else it gets ruined for me.
Yep.
Yeah, and this is another thing that this is kind of a complete tangent. I don't know if we have time or if we want to end here soon, but websites that host their own shows have been pissing me off here a little bit lately, and apparently it's the same parent company that is the real thing that's doing it to me right now. Both CBS and the CW love to throw spoilers at you for shows that you're trying to get to watch.
Oh, lovely.
And really? Like how so?
So like CW, every week that I go, because I go to their website and I watch the show on there because it's not on Hulu anymore. So the day after, I log on and on their website or on the app and I watch the show, even with commercials, even though it bugs the crap out of me. And I don't know why it's just The Flash, but while I'm watching The Flash every week, like second or third commercial break in the middle of the episode, they'll show me the preview for next week's Flash. And I'm like, why are you? Like, I'm not done yet. Like, there's still show here, and like, I guess everyone's fine because they're all there again next week. So,
jeez, that's the worst.
Like, I've just gotten this habit of like waiting for it, and then just like taking my headset off and like turning away and like la 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 la. And then CBS is even worse. They will. When you go to like cbs.com/survivor to watch a new episode, they have the first few episodes kind of in a banner scroll at the top of the page. Then right below that is all of their top stories to do with Survivor, and their headlines give things away. Like, so-and-so talks about their recent departure on Survivor, and I'm like, great, now I know who goes home.
Lovely.
So I have to like click on the episode and then like blur my eyes before the rest of the page loads, and if you don't do it quick enough, it's like, why do you guys have this paid service that you want people to use? Why would you spoil your own content on your own website? Like, it just, the idea, like, the web designer in me is just like screaming at them.
And I'm not advocating piracy, but that's a way to make piracy more convenient.
I know.
Yeah, they're not spoiled.
But it's like, I pay for their no commercials CBS All Access, and like, I want to support the shows that I like, and it's just making it hard.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's my online viewing is still not as good as live rant that companies need to fix.
Yeah, they'll get on it in 20 years or so.
I'll tell you, just to end on a positive note there, my favorite group for this is actually HBO, because not only do they not spoil anything, they have no commercials, and the digital episode is almost always released the moment the show goes live. So you can watch Game of Thrones Sunday night at 8 p.m. when everybody else is watching it on the the HBO Go or HBO Now app, and it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
So everybody else needs to do that.
Speaking of HBO, did you guys watch The Leftovers?
No,
I
it's
haven't,
on
no.
it's on my list.
The list returns.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, there's only 3 seasons. The 3rd season comes out this year, and they're ending it. So
okay.
it does have like an end at this point. That's probably one of my favorite shows, possibly ever. The first season, it's good, but the second season, like from start to finish, it's one of those shows where it makes the first season a lot better. And it's some of the best television I've probably ever seen. And they just released the first full trailer for season 3, and it's insane. So yeah, Leftovers, not too big of a commitment. Watch it. It's different from any other show I've probably ever seen.
Nice. I'm excited for the new season of Silicon Valley. They just released a trailer for that this week.
That show.
I haven't even heard about that one.
Oh, you haven't? Have you not heard about the show? Oh,
I have no idea.
Man.
oh man,
It's great.
It is fantastic.
There's so much network TV that I watch that like a cable show really has to break out to get my attention.
I'll send you like a trailer or something like that. It's basically about a group of friends in Silicon Valley like trying to create a brand new like product that will compete with the likes of Google, so to speak, and them like trying to create the product and raise a startup company, not get bought out, but it's straight up comedy, fun and
That's
Because
cool.
what's his name? Mike Judge,
yeah,
the
Mike Judge
writer
makes
of like Beavis and Butthead. Yeah, that writing. Oh man, it's great.
I almost guarantee you've probably seen like a clip or a GIF of it on the internet at some point.
Probably. Probably. Well, speaking of HBO and comedy, your favorite news show is back. Ryan.
My favorite news show.
News
On HBO?
Oh, yes, news. I think it's a new show. I was like, oh,
sorry. No, news.
What?
favorite nude
Yeah, your
show?
favorite
Taxi
nude
Cab
show.
Confessions is back.
No, Mom, I'm not watching that. I'm watching Zorro on Nick at Night. But no, last week is back, and I'm very, very happy about that. That's one of the few shows where I pretty much watch always like the night of.
Yes, I love John Oliver so much.
It's just a fun, funny show and informative for someone like me who doesn't like to watch the news very much. So
I really think we need to end with that Zorro reference.
Zorro.
That reference was a little too specific, Ryan.
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
No, but there was one more new show that's very nerdy that I saw that I was excited about too. And now, of course, I can't remember the name of it. But it's on Sci-Fi, and it's basically it looks almost exactly like the show Face Off. Which have you guys seen that before?
Nicolas Cage.
No, not the movie.
The movie's amazing.
It's a reality competition show where they do like stage makeup and stuff.
Yeah.
There's a new show that looks like it's probably shot in the same location. That's about cosplay competitions.
Oh, cool.
So I'm really excited about that one.
Yeah, because one of the guys from Face Off, Anthony Cozart. I don't know if maybe you would know. He was one of the competitors on that show, and now he's like one of the not teachers. I guess what would you call it? I don't know. He's one of the people now. He works on the show with the competitors, and he has an art studio not too far from here, and he has an art show once or twice a year. Yeah, so you got to see. You can go there and see a lot of the stuff that was even on the show and all that. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like cosplay melee television competition.
Well, let me ask you this: the cosplay, is it licensed? Are they allowed to do licensed stuff or no?
That's a good question.
I mean, either way, it would be interesting, but just curious.
I mean, yeah, because I can't imagine that they'd want to spend a lot of money on it, but at the same time, how could you not? Like, it was cosplay. You want people dressing up as iconic people.
Yeah. Huh? When does that start? When did you say?
I will let you know here in just a second. I should have looked it up ahead of time
No,
and
all
not gone
right.
off the cuff. But yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah, I'll look into it.
Yeah, just go to Sci-Fi. I'm sure it'll be on there.
Now with that, let's go ahead and get wrapped up here.
Yeah.
So TJ, thank you so much for being on once again. It's always a pleasure to have you on and to bring your knowledge and insight to the podcast.
Oh yeah, thank you again for having me. Appreciate it.
Trent, thanks for joining me as always.
Yes.
So I'd like to thank everybody for listening. Be sure to reach out to us on social media. I did it again.
On Seashell Media.
Social media.
Social media. And it's March 21st on Sci-Fi Cosplay Melee.
Oh, well, March 21st is Mass Effect Day, so no.
Just watch it the day after. It's fine.
Nope. Be sure to leave us a comment, send us an email. We love to hear from you, and we could always talk about what we get in our comments. So,
email or
if we don't hear from you, well, I guess we'll see you next week.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.